Good morning, friends. Unfortunately, I had to take down the video that I had just posted. The patterns which catch the largest moves was the title of that video, because unfortunately, the shift back to the charts didn't happen and only the whiteboard remained, and you were probably not able to see the chart. So I am redoing that video. So please bear with me and let's start again. Now, this video is about the N, M, and W pattern. Three patterns which really give you a head start in terms of looking for large moves. So let's first talk about what I mean, and then from there, we'll start with what sort of examples are best suited for uh, showing these three patterns. So the first pattern is the N pattern. Again on the downside, same similar N pattern. Now to understand the psychology, bulls took the market higher, then bears came in, took it lower, but could not wipe out the bulls totally, and hence you had a upside continuation. Similarly, downside, bears took the market lower, made a low, then again went up and uh, again sold off to make fresh lows. So this is the N pattern. Now you have the M pattern, which is also called as a double top. So M can be made like this. Some people like to call it retest. Now both the peaks need not be equal. They can be unequal, or the second peak could be lower than the first peak. It's more a matter of finesse. Okay. Key issue is in terms of the W and the M pattern is that they should have something to reverse. So an M pattern needs to have a large rally before it, and a W pattern needs to have a large decline before it. Again, the two troughs of the W can be uneven. So let's now get back to our charts and see how we can do this, and let me ensure that this time it is done properly so that I don't have to make the video a third time. So okay, now we start with our chart here. Okay, now first chart is the Nifty chart. It started the day from about 9 o'clock here. As you can see, this division of red and green is the pivot point. So what happened here was that the market opened gap down, went up, and then came off. The way I would look at this is this bar started from here, made an N, and started to come off. So that is how this pattern needs to be looked at in terms of the gap. Other thing is, again, 9th of July, it gapped up, came back, and again rallied. This stop again, please note, is at the pivot. Okay. You can have more than one N, M or W patterns in a day. Okay. So somebody else can take this as an N pattern. So it's all a matter of how you look at things, but the best patterns are the ones where you don't have to recognize anything. Okay, now back here, what we are looking at is 8th of July. Let me show you two N patterns that I can figure out. So this is one, and this is the second one. Now some of you may say, why didn't I take it from here? Because this rally took out the low of this bar. So this was the larger rally. This is the correction, and again it follows through. So broad idea is that you can have patterns within patterns. Now look at these two peaks. Somebody can think of these two peaks as a M pattern. So you have two ends within this M. So the idea should be that the larger the pattern, the better will be the move. So look for patterns which take a longer time and which are larger. Okay. So again, we move here. As you can see, another N pattern. See, now the N pattern generally starts from previous day close. So I would not like to call this an M pattern. Okay. So the idea remains that whenever you have a certain pattern which is forming, look to the left. What is going on to the left? Now, this kind of a pattern where you gap up, as far as I am concerned, this is a correction. So again, it starts to resolve and make a fresh high. Okay. Here, there was nothing clear. So 3rd of July did not deserve any sort of trading. Again, this is, sorry, that was, this is 3rd of July. That was 4th of July where we could not find a trade. Here, it goes up, comes down, and again rallies. Important bit, at this time, the market was trending. In a trending market, the N pattern is more common. In a ranging market, the M and the Ws are more common. Okay, again, we are starting near yesterday's close. So 1st of July, you have a N pattern. Okay, now let's go further. Now, as you can see, this is a large rally on the previous day, more gap up. Once this is made one peak, it comes down, it makes a lower peak, and you have your M in place. Again, if you try to see what was going on here, you had a previous high. This was a ranging market, so M became valid. And on 29th of June, sorry, you have made a W. So you came down, made one low, went up, made a second low, and you got your rally. So I guess now you can make out where these patterns come in and how to get a handle on what you could do. Okay, here I don't think it's very clear, and hence you can see the market just went sideways. Similarly, out here you gap down, made your N, went up. This was a W pattern, the larger one, and you got your decent rally. Again, you have to be patient. You have to let these things play out instead of looking for patterns where there is nothing. Again, this is your M pattern. Look at the previous session. Big rally and clear M pattern. Okay. So this is broadly what the chart looks like on the Nifty. Now, why don't we check out some of the Bank Nifty charts? Hold it. Okay. 10th of July, very similar to Nifty. This is your N pattern. Now, where do you keep stops? The stop can be kept here. Okay. Okay, now let's move further. Bank Nifty charts can sometimes be different from Nifty. So again, you had a gap up, and this N went on extending and extending, and finally it broke out. Some people could have taken profits here also. This is, trader wisdom. Okay. Again, let's move further. Now, this is one N, a small one. If somebody had to look for a larger N, this could be your larger N. So it all depends on your perspective and how large you want the move to be. So if you want larger moves, look for larger patterns, look for things to play out in that manner. Again, going further, we got this W pattern. Now, can we see what happened in the past? If you go here, this was a congestion where this W was formed. So if you get these sort of, you know, patterns, I think they become even more authentic. Okay. So, you have the whole weekend, just keep playing with this, and finally you will start to see a method in this madness. Okay. Now here, this was an expiry day, this 2nd of July. So I don't think you could have done much here, but from here you can see a bit of an N forming. So it's not necessary that every day you will find very clear and very decisive kind of pattern, but on most days you will. Okay, so this is again an N that you can find. So on a lot of days you will find patterns. Okay, now here one peak, second peak, and you can call it an M pattern. Why? Because you had a rally previous day, then another gap up. So possibly the M is more suitable here, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you could see this price action where the second peak was lower than the first one. Okay, now we try to look at some individual charts like Reliance. So why I have chosen Reliance? Because it is a nice trending chart, and trending charts give you better patterns. So gaps up, gaps up, corrects, and then makes an N. Okay, makes a W and goes up. If you go behind, as you can see here, somewhere here was a congestion which Reliance held on to. So this gives you a bit of confirmation. Okay, so that is how individual stocks can be looked at. So Such home-baked stuff that it's very difficult to. We have Bajaj Finance. Again, trendy chart, which is the best for taking intraday style trades. You can have your own list of 5, 7 stocks, 2 indices, and that should work okay. So let's start here. So this came down, went up, came down, made a W, and went here. So again, if you go and see towards the left, this is the congestion where you found support here. So these patterns, they work best when there is something to the left. Okay, again, look at this M pattern. Large rally, one peak, second peak, and comes down. Can we see something to the left of this? Because there is obviously trading which has happened towards the uh, left of, but I think that's way too far. So sometimes you will be able to find nearby action, sometimes you won't. But the best odds trade, you should have action fairly nearby. So broadly, this is how these patterns they work out. And if you know what phase of the market you are in, you should be easily able to identify the N patterns or the M or the Ws. Okay, so try to select the best looking chart. Try to select charts where the patterns are very, very clear. Okay, again, always useful to go back and see whether there is anything to the left. You can see this congestion was to the left of this price action. So this is the broad gist of this video. The second time around, I have been able to make it shorter. I have uh, I have put in almost as many examples, but I have gone through this a bit quicker. See, important bit to understand, previous support resistance is important. Could be previous day, previous swing low, plus sometimes like everything, it won't work. Please recognize that quickly and get out. Okay. But most of the time, it will give you a fair idea in terms of where the price could be going. So that should be it for this video. Take care, trade well, and please consult your financial advisor, and hope you continue to have your good weekend.